Yahweh, Barak Yahweh Shai, Barak Yahweh, Barak Yahweh Shai, Barak Yahweh, Barak Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakah HaKodash. I want to give double honors to our elder apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone who rule well, as well as peace and blessings, health and wellness to the house of David the elect. All right. Zahad, Spirit, Way, and Judah. And today I want to go into a topic entitled The Value of Simplicity, or the value in simplicity. All right, the value in simplicity. All right. And the reason why I'm doing this topic within this live stream is because I was just meditating upon a few things, you know, as I gather my things for work. All right. Because in Babylon, we have to work, man. All right. And I was reminiscent on a time where I was in the truth and I had my first full-time job, you know, and I was no more than like 20, but I had a full-time job, and it was like Walmart. I was working at Walmart making minimum wage. And the only reason why I made that amount of money because they raised minimum wage laws, so it had to be like $7 an hour. But the Spirit allowed me to get my own apartment. It was a studio apartment. You know, I was out in the hood at that time. That's where I grew up. So long story short, I had an apartment, studio apartment. The room was the apartment, you know. The bedroom was the living room. But it was like, I can't remember how many square feet at the time. Maybe it was 400 square feet. Maybe it was more. But it was small. But even to this day, all right, which is well over a decade ago, all right, well over a decade later, I still reminiscent on that particular apartment I had. Out of all the apartments I had, and for a particular period of time within that studio apartment, I had a futon mattress. So it was a couch that turned into a bed. You know what I mean? And I had a cash car, and I worked down the street from that apartment. Like I lived down the street, and I made the least amount of money, but I had the most amount of money. Ain't that something? You know, I made the least amount of money, but I had the most amount of money because my life was simple. All right. And one thing you value in this truth, especially in this truth, and that's not being in the kingdom of heaven, one thing you learn is the value of simplicity, man. And I can only tell my story and hope that it edifies, because you have a lot of sincere brothers who have jobs, we have cars, we got bills, some brothers have little ones, all right? And you might struggle financially, and a lot of us do struggle financially. And a lot of times we feel like we should make more money, and sometimes that is the case. If you can get the opportunity to make more money without compromising your duties in this truth, then you should. Compromising, you know, your morals in this truth, okay? Why not? But what I've learned is less is more, and I've learned that from experience. You know, different brothers have different experiences. Some brothers can tell you about women. Some brothers can tell you about, you know, certain other things. All right. But one thing I've learned is just the value of simplicity. And like I said, the least amount of debt you apply to yourself, the least amount of, you know, fees and services you have, the more simple your life is, man. And the more simple your life is, the more control you have over your life, the more government you have over your life. But once again, I remember being in a studio apartment, and out of all the apartments that I've had and out of the different jobs that I've had, I'm always reminiscent over that particular studio apartment, the smallest apartment, with an air conditioning unit in the window. It was one of those apartments. And I remember it was cold in the winter time, and I guess the heat may have stopped working. And I went to the store, which I worked at Walmart, and I got like a $20 space heater. So I had a futon mattress, a space heater, and I may have had a small TV. But my thing outside of studying was really watching movies. And even like I said, to this day, which is well over a decade later, I like that more. I've had better apartments. I've definitely had better cars. But that cash car I had, that was the best. It was the best. And it fought, man. That car lasted a few years, man. You know? That car lasted a few years. I did a lot of work to it. I had a lot of work done to it. But you learn the value of simplicity. And you learn All right, because one thing the apostles said, don't be going out to eat so much. Don't go to these fast food restaurants. He said that around that time. And the fact that everything is at your job, after work, I just get groceries. I wasn't really health conscious back then, but you had your beef patties. You had a little stove, so you cook things on the stove. You get groceries for the next few days or for the week. You just live like that. But I wasn't materialistic. The only clothes that I really bought was work clothes. And say, yeah, brother, they make more money and you choose to buy clothes. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm just telling you something else on my spirit this morning. All right, something that I value. The simplicity is powerful. At that time, I didn't have a woman. And I remember thinking, because I grew up in the hood. And, I was like, dang, I have peace. Like, once you really get away from so-called black people, because I was solitary outside of the brothers that I talked with. I wasn't hanging around Jake. I'm like, man, once you really away from the people you grew up around, you away from that drama that you have in the neighborhood and all that BS that happens in the neighborhood or in school, or you have peace. And I'm saying this because we are in a Western empire. We are in the luxurious Roman Empire. We are in a kingdom that described as a woman who dwelleth carelessly. All right? And sometimes you might find yourself feeling like you're less than because you have less. But I'm someone who believes that there's more in having less. All right, when you have less bills, I had a Boost mobile phone. It had to have been no more than $40, $50 a month. All right, and this is before you could watch YouTube in your phone. This is before you really had the internet in your phone. All right, but I had a laptop, which is probably the most expensive possession within my possessions. All right, but like I said, I had a futon mattress. That when it was time to go to bed, you just flipped it open so it could be a bed. Just be, to turn to a bed or whatever. All right, and I had a laptop. And that's how you watch the apostles, that's how you watch videos. But on the flip side, that's how you watch movies. And I remember every now and then I treat myself and I go to the movies. And one thing I'm just thinking out loud to the brothers, but one thing I want to do is get my movie game back up, because movies open you up to a lot in the spirit. And it's good downtime, which downtime is another topic that I want to go into. Because, we desire to be diligent in Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai. But there's a method to that diligence. You can't just read and that's it. There's a method to input and output. Things you put in your mind, then you have to have that output. You have to have an outlet. Outlet literally means to let out. So you have to let out that stress, that steam that you've built up at work, maybe built up at your house. You have to have downtime. You probably have to get away from the house. Even if you're not, going to bars or clubs per se, you're not doing like boisterous stuff. You still have to get away from your cave. Because for the most part, a lot of us work inside of planks that's shaped like a fucking box. But it's really a prison. And you're away from the sun, you're away from the elements, then you turn around and go home to a box. You drive in a box with wheels on it. So it's good to get away from at least that scene and go somewhere else to sort of de-stress. But anchoring back, going back to the topic at hand, I always reminiscing on my first apartment. And I don't think it was because it was my first apartment. It was the simplicity within it. And like I said, it was basically in the hood and they did have a lot of maintenance issues. And you could hear everything with all your neighbors, and that was a vexation. Like I said, the maintenance issues, they had me thinking like, damn, who should be paying who to stay here? Y'all should be paying me to stay here. All right? But just the overall existence of it, I had the AC in the window, I had it taught me frugality. It taught me being frugal, And I think when you get your first apartment or before you get your first apartment, it'll be nice to maybe learn how to grill, set the grill out like a barbecue grill. It'll be nice to learn a few things about your car. A lot of things that wasn't on YouTube back then is on YouTube now. You can learn how to change a tire. That's important. You can start buying things for your car like a portable inflator. All right, these are these gadgets you can have as a man, because one thing we learn in Shoop is manhood, and it's good to know those things, like, okay, how to change a tire, how to plug a tire, what's another one? Just maybe get into your oil, at least check your oil, have those things in your trunk, have certain things in your trunk. When you're driving in the middle of the road, in the middle of nowhere, you could get yourself back on the road, man. Because let's say you get a woman, right? Well, you are her safety net. So most likely she's not gonna know how to do those things. Unless she was raised around her dad or her uncles, you know how that goes. But just generally, it's good to know how to do those things, man, because a lot of services that's provided for in America, you can learn those services yourself. And that's what I'm doing. I'm just learning certain things, certain projects. Because a lot of the service is really for women. Because this kingdom was built for women to not have men and to not rely on men. But it wasn't meant for you as a man to not know these things. All right? That's part of being a man. We get on Eve. But something that's been on my spirit is us really being men, because we may not have known certain things growing up. If you weren't raised with your father really wasn't hands-on with you like that. But going back to simplicity, just having a studio apartment, all right? Certain tools. I think a brother should at least get a $20 toolbox. It's not just about knowing the truth. Yeah, that's the bulk of it. That's why you're here, is to know the truth. But you still have to live in Babylon. So my brother could get that $20 toolbox from Walmart with the Phillips screwdriver and the different sockets and the different changeable bits, tool bits, with the hammer in it, with the wrench, all right? What's in the socket set, $20 toolbox. Just have certain gadgets to have, man, because most things you buy, let's say you buy a bookshelf, well, you're gonna need a hammer at least, a screwdriver to at least put it together. So look, man, you got a $20 heater, maybe you got a portable inflator for your trunk, you have the $20 tool set. Those things are important in Babylon, at least. Because we're not in the kingdom, we're not in the kingdom of Yahushua, big brother Yahushua. We can't move off royalty, we can't move off opulence, all right, or prestigiousness. Some brothers have a little more than others, and some brothers can have nice things, and there's definitely nothing wrong with that if you can afford it. But there's power and there's beauty in simplicity, man. And that's, to me, that's really like the core of manhood, is really being frugal and being simple. One thing you learn about women, that they're consumers. You have that movie called Nutty Professor that came out, I believe, in 1996, starring Eddie Murphy. There's a particular scene with Dave Chappelle acting as, I think, Reggie. And he started off his set. He was a comedian that was doing a stand-up set, right? And he was like, women be shopping. Good Lord, women be shopping. Women know they can shop. And now that I'm a grown man that deals with women, like, that's facts. That's facts, man. Women are consumers. If you ever have to help a woman move, whether it's your sister or your aunt or your woman, you're like, God damn. But men and women are direct opposites. So women are known to have more, because I've read that in their nature, women feel empty, or they have an empty nature. So they have to fulfill their emptiness with things. But men, their fulfillment is emptiness. Men's fulfillment in male nature, the masculine polarity, the masculine spirit, all right, your fulfillment is emptiness or simplicity or less. Or when women have less, they feel empty. When men have less, you may feel fulfilled. Hence the term less is more. So, this is, the scripture says, with food and raiment, let us therefore be content. And there are certain cultures, I want to say like Ammonite cultures, and they really get into their religion of Buddhism. They really tap into that simplicity. And you go into these blue zones where people live to be 105 years old on a norm, they have less. But what really fulfills them is their family, their communion. And who is our family? It's the brotherhood. What did Yahweh say to his mother? He pointed to his disciples and said, that's my mother, that's my father. Roughly paraphrasing, that's my family. So, look, brother, there's a lot of power. There's a lot of power in having less, all right? It's all your mindset. You can think, man, I don't have anything. I used to have so much in the world. I used to be the dude with 200 pair of Jordans. I used to have a fresh cut every 2 days. I used to have a Rolex watch. Man, fuck all that. Fuck that shit. Fuck it. Now, like I said, let me flip it. Hey, if you can afford that, hey, it's nothing. As long as you're in the spirit, that's what really matters. But you have to understand there's an art to simplicity. And I want to push the art of it, man. Because this is the sickest, fattest, highest rates of mental illness and depression and suicide, but it's supposed to be the wealthiest country, or one of the wealthiest countries. But everybody's jumping off of buildings. You have 4 police officers that allegedly blew their fucking brains out. But being a sheriff or police, that's not bad. That's not like a bad income. So why do they blow their brains out? We said we're gonna kill each other. We're gonna kill ourselves this day. The richest people are drug addicts. So we can't have that covetous spirit in Babylon and feel like we have less things or less money, so we have less. All right? No, less is more. Going back to these blue zones where people live to be 105, they have a documentary series on that right now on Netflix. They're all third world countries. They're all considered so-called poor by American standards, by first world standards, man. But there's beauty in frugality, man. There's beauty in being frugal. And this goes back to being a stoic, man. All right, this goes back to stoicism, man. All right? Having less, you know? What's that scripture? Godliness with content is great gain. And like I said, it may not even make sense. But when I made the least amount of money, which is really minimum wage, and the only reason why I made that amount of money, because they raised minimum wage laws. And I'm like, damn, I had more back then. You know? And then you think about like, shit, the restaurant is your kitchen. So you don't have to go out and eat all the time because the restaurant is really in your house. You know? Some brothers might have a video game. There's nothing wrong with that, but my thing was movies. Like at that time, I just go in Redbox at Walmart. So I just get a movie out of Redbox. I get my groceries. After I get out of work, I buy a few groceries, and I get some off Redbox. And I noticed Jake in my job would look at me like, what is he doing? He can buy groceries like he can afford groceries because we all ain't getting paid shit. But it's the most high. All I did, I was just in love with wisdom. So seek ye first the kingdom of Yahweh by Shema Shai, and all these things should be added unto you. And I noticed that the thing that whenever you sort of leave the truth spiritually, the focus on other things in the flesh, you have less. Whenever, because, you know, let's say you might have a burn, so, you know, you look for women, but the moment you put your energy behind women, and that's your focal point, it's more drama and chaos that way. It's more, how can I put this? And everything gets harder. Whenever you leave the spirit to tackle certain things, you always run into stumbling blocks, man. Especially if you're in the truth and you to hopefully elect. He just makes it harder for you because he really wants your focal point to be the truth, man. All right? So I just want brothers and sisters, because, you know, maybe you was a sister that was lavish, or, you know, you had a lot and you was just, you know how Eve is, man. Because Eve is still bougie. Eve is still an Israelite, a princess. So you might have that nature, but in its truth, the Most High might require you to be more simple. And even as a woman, a skill set is knowing how to save money. You know, you really become a value to your household when you are the one that knows how to find deals and coupons and stuff. That's an asset. That helps. Because Eve buys, and she purchases. and she's just behind financially on a financial treadmill. In a lot of cases, not all, but a lot of cases. But another skill set is knowing the art of saving money and finding coupons and, you know, finding deals and making that an art. And you really become an asset to your household, because you have women who don't give a fuck about the budget. They may not care about the budget or whatever that the husband is making an effort to uphold, or maybe he's just not good with money. So somebody has to be good with money, which means that's part of your manhood, is really learn how to control your money, not being impulsive. But once again, I mean, there's value in just keeping a simple life, man. There's value in that. There's value in being frugal. There's value in your pleasure really just comes from the truth, because nothing else is promised. Everything else is temporal, man. All right, everything else is temporal. But once again, man, and I want to say this too before I end the live stream, is the water for you brothers and sisters who are tuning into the live stream. You know, it's power in having your own. You know, it's power in having your own. It doesn't matter if it's, once again, a studio or one-bedroom apartment. It doesn't matter if it's a cash car. You know, an older car. You know what I mean? We're not here to impress anybody. Hey, it's the power is in simplicity, but there's power in having your own apartment, having your own car, and not relying on somebody else that have that, and you basically live in their world, man. You know, you might have roommates and stuff, and because of financial situations, you might have a roommate, but as a man, I believe you should still have your own, you know? Especially if you're a younger man, your 20s, 30s, and you're dealing with women, you know, 30s, 40s. You know, it's power in just really having your own, man. Like I said, a studio, apartment, cash car. You know, a lot of things concerning your car, you could go on YouTube and find out. You have a mechanic that you might be cool with. But that's a good foundation to have in the world, man. When you're in this world, is just having your own first. All right, your own apartment, your own car. Of course, you have a phone. That's really it. You put groceries in your own apartment. All right, that way, let's say you get a woman, she's not managing that part of your life. You're managing that part. All right? But, hey, with that, I hope you brothers and sisters were edified. Once again, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. All right, Bahashem, Kahakudash. Double honors to our elder apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone, well. Peace and blessings, health and wellness to the house of David the elect. Abba, Abba, Kom Yashala, Shalom.